I've had some people pitch me on like, oh, we can just replicate you. And I'm like, first of all,
No, you can't.
you can't. I feel a lack of connection when it's AI. I think if you are trying to educate people on what it's like to connect with human beings as a trial lawyer, and then for efficiency, you replace it with a computer, we are doing a disservice to the people.
Welcome to the John and Marc podcast. We are live at Torts Made Perfect. I am jazzed up for our guest. I would introduce you, but I would not do yourself justice. Welcome to the podcast. Who do we have today?
Sarah Williams,
The
partner as
Sarah
single
Williams.
driver. The Sarah Williams, as I am called, which is so awkward. It's so awkward.
You might be the first guest we have that has their own personal stylist, their own personal social media manager. I don't know where your posse is at this point. They're not in the room with us, but we're very excited about having you on. And what are you looking forward to here at Torts Made Perfect?
I enjoy, so I used to come to Torts Made Perfect every April and October. I haven't been in a couple years. So I have looked forward to reconnecting with people. There are a lot of lawyers I haven't seen because I feel like on the conference circuit, there are people who do certain conferences and then don't do others. So that's been good, but I'm in and out. Like I flew in last night, I had a dinner, I spoke this morning, I'm doing this podcast, I've got some meetings, and I'm flying. I'm taking the red eye. When you get old, you start doing conferences and different things.
I agree.
Well, we really appreciate you fitting us into your very busy schedule.
For sure.
The first time I came upon your presence was at the first Business of Law event in Arizona.
Yeah.
Okay. You did a phenomenal talk. I remember because I had to speak right after you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm so sorry.
It's a bad slot to have.
It is. That was probably 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Did she throw you the mic, be like, good luck?
No, I just had to get on stage after. Okay, so usually, and you know this, having attended many of these conferences, usually what happens at these events is the talks are either extremely self-promotional
Yeah.
or are so surface level that you can take nothing away from them. Right?
Right.
And from Sarah's talk, I remember walking away and seeing people swarm her afterwards to ask her questions and actually making me think about what she said. Because at the time, I think the talk was about personal branding. As you remember this?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going back now. It was about personal branding, and all of these attorneys were trying to understand the dynamic of social media at the time and how it was evolving. There was no ChatGPT or any of that yet. And you were still with Shunara.
Plugging it out. And also a personal brand within a larger brand. That I feel like was at that time mind-blowing. Even still now, people think it was a failed experiment. But
I think that the way that you approach your personal brand as an attorney is the way that other attorneys should think about their brand. Not that they should emulate you, right? But you are yourself. You are not getting in front of a camera and trying to put on any type of act. There's no mask that gets put on when you go in front of a camera.
right.
Yeah, there's no persona that gets.
Right. It's Sarah, and you
All
just
you
say
got.
it.
You get. Listen, this is what you get.
I can confirm from the conversations we had before we were recording, this is exactly how she is.
And that type of mentality for someone in this space, especially when you're talking more about personal injury lawyers who are used to being the namesake of the firm, being on all the commercials and having to be, I'm going to, pound on top of the truck with the hammer, or I am going to talk about
what's the term? We say some lawyers are like a caricature of themselves.
Right. And they're on. And then you meet them and you're like, oh, you're nothing like.
Yeah.
And so for me, it's the opposite. I love when my clients come in to meet in person and they're like, you're exactly like you are. That's all I got. But I think that goes a long way in creating trust between you and your client.
Of course.
Right.
You're on Instagram and you're talking about what is it like to be a lawyer and a mom, right? And that is what people, I guess, want to hear, right? You have a big following.
Right. I mean, it could be bigger. No, it's a loyal following. And so the thing that has been important for me, I think the mistake a lot of lawyers make is they're like, how do I go viral?
Yeah.
And then how do I just have like a huge number of followers? The metric that we focus on, me and my team, is who's staying. Do you know what I mean? And who's engaging? Like when I finished speaking this morning, I had like 3 or 4 ladies come up to me and they're like, "Hey, I follow you on TikTok or I follow you on Instagram. Haven't had a chance to meet you." And so it is for an introvert, which no one ever believes. Like I am
I don't believe you.
absolutely
You're a liar.
I know. I like to earn a living and I realize that to do it in this space, you cannot like I can't be an introvert.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You're a service-based business that deals directly with clients.
You got to do it or do something else.
Yes.
Right? But it helps because I can show up places and people are like, I already know you. So it helps with like that awkward, hello, my name is Sarah Williams stage of like networking because people are like, hey, I already know you and how's your daughter? And I love that aspect of it. I think that sometimes I get frustrated and I'm like, this dude just jumped on a truck and has 50,000 followers, but it's a real community versus just a bunch of people who are looking to be entertained.
We had this conversation 2 weeks ago. Like when we come to these conferences, that's when we really find out like who's watching this stuff, right? Lawyers don't tend to comment on things. They try to like just stay in the background and get their knowledge and share with their inner circles. And we come here and people are like, hey, like, love the newsletter. Hey, love the podcast. Hey, Tort Talk, fantastic. Like
Yeah.
that is like, it doesn't matter how big your audience is as long as it's the right audience.
That's right. Engagement to me is worth more than likes or the number of followers. And so the thing that's been important for us, like I get a quarterly report in terms of, what my metrics were for the quarter is like who stayed. Like we don't have a lot of drop off.
Also, before we move on, everyone who's watching, please like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't. Our team would appreciate it.
Yes, as well as to Sarah,
Yeah.
because
Yes.
I know the two big cohorts of people who watch this are either attorneys themselves or marketers at law firms.
Or a lot of vendors in the space.
Yeah.
And if you want to actually see like the right way to do social media as an attorney in this space, definitely follow Sarah on Instagram, TikTok, and where else are you active? LinkedIn?
I have not been as active. I've been building a new firm. So that's been like one of my really not even Q2. My Q3 goal is to get back into LinkedIn. My Q1, Q2, I'm just like focus on Instagram. TikTok is a little different for me. Like that's where I experiment with content. And so it's not the same exact content as you'll see on Instagram. Like sometimes I will, if I have an idea, I'll like record a talking head video in the car and I'm like, let me see how this goes on TikTok. And then I may at my next like formal shoot do a video for Instagram based on because the metrics on TikTok are a lot better. Like you can tell, where people engaging with the content. And so then sometimes I'll revise like, okay, this is my hook. I thought this was the hook, but this is really the hook. So I use TikTok much more for like research.
Yeah, that's
And
okay.
to do some of the things like that I don't do on Instagram, like what did I wear to this conference? And you can show up on TikTok without makeup on, which it's, like it's a much more relaxed space. And people feel like they know you on TikTok. It's very odd, like the DMs I get. Where they're just like, hey girl, let me tell you what happened to my brother. You think you can find someone? It's wild to me. But it's always good I think for like research in terms of the more polished content.
I would love to dive into this more. I know you're kind of alluding like what your social strategy. Can you like explain how you look at social media, like where you focus your attention, how you think about it, how your team thinks about it? Because this is like for a lot of people listening, this is a wild concept. They just think I'll just post on my company's or the firm's Instagram. That's me doing social media. I'll take a picture. Hey, maybe there's some funny trending song or dance going on. I'll do that.
Yeah.
Like explain to them how you look at social media as a strategy.
So the one big thing that I tell folks, including like my firm, is my content, I try to not be self-serving, right? Like I want to add value. And so like that's my overarching foundational belief. Like if what I'm posting does not somehow add value to people, I don't want to post it. right? And so ideally for me, initially when I started, it was, everyone was content pillars, right? So like what were my pillars? And I think that when you're just getting started, having 3 or 4 foundational content pillars helps from an organizational standpoint because it's very overwhelming,
Yeah, you're like,
right?
what
Like
do I
you could do,
post?
what do I
Oh,
post?
yeah, yeah.
And so for me, those pillars were empowering women, trial advocacy because I'm an educator, trucking litigation, and then just kind of just generally, I'm funny, I think. And so I like to have, like, we have a Wednesday hump day humor, which I will say what drives me nuts is that those videos do so much better. Like I will stress, I'm like, I got to talk about trucking and bad weather cases. And like, while those videos will get me a referral, like in terms of spreading the message and really getting me in front of audiences, it's the like 2 to 6 second hump day humor that's just something, like an experience that lawyers have that people can relate to that like drives new followers. And so what's important to me for my content is that it reflects who I am, right? Like I am an educator. What are the cases that I'm passionate about? But then what about my personality? Like I like to empower people. I love when people come up to me at conferences and say, like, I go to your page every morning because I know I'm going to find something on there that will motivate or inspire me. Or I go to your page when I'm not in a good place or I'm feeling like this industry has kind of beat me down. Like I know I can go there and it's an inviting environment. And so that's intentional for me. Like I don't do what I call trauma porn. I don't do reactions to wrecks. I don't like you won't see, sometimes you'll have lawyers and it's like they'll be talking about something and then they'll have B-roll that's like a crash. Like we're dealing with people who have experienced a trauma. And what I don't want is for this space, that is my space, to be a place where you go to be re-traumatized or like that's not the pool for me. And a lot of lawyers, it's a draw, right? People have a fascination with trauma and with crashes and it keeps people's attention and it's not who I am. And so, which probably sometimes frustrates like my social media manager and my video editors because they're like, oh, so and so's doing these things. And I think it's important to stay true to who you are. That's not who I am, and that's not the environment that I want to create.
I forgot what the official term, but it's like the creator, the influencer dilemma, where you get on this cycle where you create a piece of content that's not really 100% on brand, but it does really well. And then you're like chasing that result again. So you make more content like that. And then before you know it, you've been building an audience for all this content that's not associated with anything you care about.
Right.
And you're kind of trapped
Yep.
where you're like, oh, I'm doing so well. But now all the stuff I actually cared about's over there that I don't make anymore because it doesn't get great engagement. But I have this huge audience that is not related to any of the stuff that I really want to talk about.
Right. Obsession with vanity metrics. And I was like that very early on, where it's like, yeah, 15 likes. It's like, yeah, but you had a referral from it,
Yeah.
right? Like this one referral paid for, your marketing expenses for like 2 years. And so, and I love having, shout out to Chelsea, like my social media manager really does a good job of keeping me grounded. And like, she's like, you told me this was the mission. So this is what we're focused on. Now, if you're saying the mission has changed, then these are some things we can do differently. But if this is truly the goal, we're good, right? And you can't focus on the vanity metrics.
We like to give like golden nuggets to the audience. So
Yeah.
people that want to get started, like how do they start like framing of how they want to tackle social media? What advice do you have for them to like get started going in the right direction? Now you're a seasoned vet.
Yeah, I think the first thing is you got to get real about who you are, right? Like, who are you and what is important to you? So, some of the questions I think it's important to ask yourself are like, one, what is my goal? Right? Like what is the ultimate goal? Am I looking for case referrals or am I like is it B2B or is it or is it B2C? Right? Am I looking to attract other businesses, other lawyers, or am I looking to attract clients? Because the way you market
Very
is
different.
going to be different. For me, it's a mixture of both, but ideally, I'm looking for case referrals because traditionally I just found that the higher quality cases for me traditionally came from case referrals. But what happens, and I think AI has played a part in this, is when you create the content that is adding value and answering questions, people are looking to find the expert. And I think there's so much noise out there now with commercials and build, like, there's so much noise. They're like, okay, who sounds like they really know what they're doing? And so I end up getting, direct referrals or direct clients from social media. One of my best cases last year was a lady whose one of her tenants had a med mal situation that happened, and she sent me a DM and she said, "I've watched your content on being a lawyer mom and teaching trial skills, even though I'm not a trial lawyer, and I feel like you would be the best person to help her with this case." So it can be a mixture, but my ultimate goal is referrals. And so I think you got that help.
Okay, step 1,
Step
define
one,
what your goal
what
is.
is your goal?
Yeah.
Step 2, who are you? Because a lot of people don't do like
Very
mindset
difficult.
work of figuring out like who are you and what do you want, and not what the industry tells you should want, right? What do you actually want? And it is a much more difficult question to ask, to answer, than I think people think, because you have to peel back all the things like what your mama told you should be doing, what your professors told you should be doing, what other people tell you should be doing. Like when I focused on trucking during that time period, like I knew I wanted to ultimately become top of mind for those cases, right? That takes time. Branding takes time, right? It's not like immediate. It's like, what's the ROI? It's a long game, right? But you got to decide what you want. And I remember when I was like, that's what I'm going to focus on when it comes to marketing, folks were like, yeah, but what if you miss out on a motorcycle case? And what if you miss out on a med mal case? And I think a lot of lawyers operate in scarcity mindset. And it's like, that's not who I am. Can I handle those cases? Yes. But this is ideally the case I want. And so that's what I'm going to market for. But it takes really peeling back like all the other voices that have influenced who you think you are and deciding. And the other thing is like, again, who am I? I'm an educator. I am someone who likes to motivate and empower and inspire people. Like those are things that are important to me. People told me you are making a mistake talking about issues dealing with women in the law and motherhood. Like nobody wants to hear their trial lawyer talking about what's going on with their kids. And women are my number one referring source,
Mhm.
right? And women trial lawyers are a very ignored market in terms of like people who are looking for referrals going and selling themselves or pitching themselves. Don't ignore the issues, right? And so, but I'm being true to me. That is who I am. I'm a lawyer mom, right?
It's something. It's who you are. It's something you're
That's
passionate
right.
about. It's not like you're talking about the subjects you think it's like a good subject to talk about. It's something you actually care about. Is why it resonates.
Right. And that takes, highly recommend therapy, but also getting in. I like to read, can I cuss?
You can cuss.
So one of my partners, Brett Schreiber, likes to say, like, I like to read books that assholes read on planes. But like I love Cy Wakeman and I love Ryan Holiday, and like Courage is Calling is a fantastic book. But like you've got to get in tune with yourself, because this industry will tell you who it thinks you are or who it thinks you should be. You've got to decide, and then you've just got to be laser focused. I think that's the starting point from a philosophical standpoint, right? Like the foundation. And then you got to figure out the apps. So a lot of people will hire folks to do them. I did it myself for a little bit. I don't want you to tell me something's going well and you sell me on something and I don't understand it myself. So it was important for me like to understand the tech myself and to understand like I can shoot my own videos. I can edit my own videos. Like I know when you're BSing me on a price for editing or when the editing's not high quality. Like if I can go on CapCut and make it myself, so I think that people get taken advantage of a lot by vendors because they don't understand. Like they don't understand the metrics and they don't understand their analytics. And so you have to understand the space. And then you have to be dedicated to creating the assets. Like, you can't say you want to market on social media, but you're not going to carve out the time to have a content day, or you're not going to carve out time during your week to shoot B-roll, or you're not going to like, if you're not going to dedicate the time to it, don't do it. So it is, I mean, I schedule every quarter, I schedule a time to do a shoot. And luckily I have someone who kind of keeps me, like, we plan a month in advance. So, like, we've just planned May. We'll plan June in a couple of weeks. But it takes effort. But it is marketing like any other type of marketing. And lawyers have to think of themselves as a business. Like, marketing is a part of the business. If you don't have cases to work on.
How long should someone be at it before they expect to see any type of return?
I've been doing it 6 years now. And
It's a loaded question. I know the answer, but
it's tough because it depends on what you consider a return. So I feel like it's not like a 6-month investment. And that's what happens, right? People are like, I dropped 10 videos. And I think, like, I would give it like 2 years before I said to myself, this has failed. I would give it 2 years of dedicated analysis, and you're like actually in it. I think at least 2 years. For me, I feel like it was the 2.5 year mark where it really, I felt, started taking off.
Oh, it's funny. John posted a post on LinkedIn this week talking about like the podcast. Like, we started in August, it's been growing. And then I commented, like, here's the original story of like how it started. I was like, hey, John, I really think we should build like a content team and we should start a podcast. This is my vision for you. Like, how much is it going to cost? Like, it's going to cost a ton of money.
Right.
He's like, how are we going to know it's working? We're like, we won't. And like, he's like, how long am I committing to do this? I was like, minimum 18 months. Honestly, probably forever. He was like, okay, let's do it. But it was like, that was the commitment. I was like, you need to be going into this project to expect nothing to come from it for 18 months of hard work
Yeah.
before we like start looking at what's going on. I'm not saying waste your time, but this isn't like you start it and immediately get results.
even going viral, even if you do get that pop for some reason or another, because the way that the algorithms are working now, like, something can go viral and it's like from an account that just has no prior visibility, but that doesn't mean you're hitting the audience you want to hit.
Yeah.
Right. And I think, AI is so much, like, it makes it so much easier. Like, I remember like fretting over hooks and captions and, but now there's so many tools, even to create your content, to edit your videos, that if you don't have the budget, because I think that's what a lot of people think. They're like, oh, well, you have a social media manager, right? And so it's different for you. It's like, I didn't always.
Yeah.
I think we're 2.5 years in with me being managed by someone. Other than that, it was me, right? Like, I hire a videographer, a photographer, and then they'd send me the stuff, and then I'd have to sit on Sundays and edit my content for the week and schedule my content for the week, right? But then it got to the point where there were returns on it, and I could invest back
Yeah.
in it and help. You know what I mean? So I think that people, if you really want to do it, you're gonna have to invest on the front end your time, and if you're not willing to invest your time, and that you can't say that I'm the busiest person ever, right? Like, you can't be too busy for it. That's like saying, like, you're too busy to draft policies for your law firm or to review discovery in your case. Like, marketing is a part of being in business. And if you are thinking of yourself, even if you're in a firm, as a business, you have to take the time to do it.
How do you look at the prioritization of a firm's branded social media and then an individual attorney or partner's social media profile?
I think that not every partner needs to have a personal brand.
I will agree with that one.
You know what I mean? There are certain personalities that lend themselves to having a personal brand. And I think that our firm is going through this process of identifying who should be the personal brand. My humble opinion, I think if you found a firm, you should have a personal brand.
Some firms, there's a lot of names on the firm header.
That is true. If there are a lot of names on the firm header, then I think you got to figure out like who are the personalities that lend themselves to people or being engaging, right? But I don't think everyone in a firm should have a personal brand. You got to kind of figure out who has the personality to do it and who does it make sense. For us, well, at my former firm, we were two very different people. There's a demographic and a group of people who would refer me cases that they wouldn't send to him. Like even now when I left, there are people who are like, oh, okay, now that you're gone, I'm gonna send you cases. Like what? So that was kind of the impetus to me starting my personal brand at that firm. And it worked out well. He captures his set of people who are his people, and then there's my people, and then there's some overlap. And so I think that's the analysis you have to do. Like, does this person have a distinct personality that needs to stand out from the firm's brand? And will there be, do they have a potential audience? Not everyone does. Well, maybe that's sometimes a hard conversation to have with people.
Did you get any pushback when you started your own personal brand while you're inside, your past firms?
So it was his idea. It was Alex's idea. And it took me a while to buy in. But we got pushback from the outside. Like people, when it first launched, we were at NTL in Miami, and people came up to him and they were like, "Hey, did you see what Sarah's doing?
She's making moves on your brand.
Yeah." And he was like, "Isn't it amazing?" And so what's funny now that I've left the firm is now the conversation is, see, we told you.
Yeah.
We told you she was going to leave. We told you that this would allow her to create the type of business that would allow her to leave. And he's like, yeah. Like, and I told y'all.
But I got
didn't
rich
care
off her
about
while
that.
she was here.
It's like she brought in cases that I never would have gotten. Right. And so that's the thing. And so I've had some conversations where people are like, ha ha ha, we told him that you would do this. And I'm like, you realize you don't own people, right?
Yeah.
Like if you have someone who is itching to create and is like the type of personality like me, and you stifle them, you're going to lose them anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're going to lose them anyway. And so then transitioning to my new firm, Singleton Schreiber, it was a conversation. I was like, hey, this is what I do. I'm not going to stop doing it. So is it compatible? And then their conversations within their marketing team. And I actually think it has worked well in terms of expanding their audience, right? And so I think that it's necessary to have personal brands, especially the direction that digital marketing is going. Like a law firm can't pretend that they have a Sarah Williams at their firm, right? Mm-hmm. Sometimes what we were seeing at my old firm was, people would click, they'd search Alexander Shannara, call a firm, the first firm that popped up, or, people were creating landing pages, and then they call and they say, oh, yeah, we work with them. They send us cases. And you think of him as like this huge person. And so it's like, yeah, maybe this firm is taking their cases. But if you call the firm and say, yeah, I want to hire Sarah Williams, and they can't transfer your call to Sarah Williams, right? Then you're less likely to lose those cases. Like you want people, in my opinion, asking for certain lawyers by name.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I want people asking for me by name. That's why I think is necessary with the direction that digital marketing is going. I think every firm should have somebody who is a personal brand.
This has taken a direction that I want to dig into a bit. We say this all the time. People do business with people who they know, like, and trust. Okay? They don't do business with AI. They don't do business with a faceless brand for the most part, right? If they do, it's because that's the only option that they have available to them. As we move more towards I'll just call it an AI heavy era of digital marketing, where people can create social media content without a real human, right? How can an attorney say, I should be investing my time, my resources in doing it the way that Sarah's doing it, versus I'm being sold this like bag of goods that is someone creating something for me using AI or like meshing together different things to try and create something that isn't actually what you've done?
I've been trying to stay on top of where that's going, and it seems to me that where at least Meta is going to go is to deprioritize the more polished content, because that content is more like you're more capable of replicating that with AI. And so like next month I'm experimenting with like the sitting in my car talking head videos, right? That
These
like
ones.
yeah, like it's like clearly I'm in my car. You know what I mean? It's not like it's me. Like y'all know this is my
Yeah.
car because you've also seen B-roll of me like picking my dog up, right? I don't know how that I don't know kind of where the algorithm's gonna go, but I have a feeling that it's gonna become more like TikTok. Like on TikTok, the polished videos don't get as much engagement. Like I have gotten more engagement. Like the video, I've had one video go viral on Cardi B. It ended her trial, ended up on CNN. And it was I saw a video clip. I was standing at my standing desk at work and I like put my phone on my tripod. Every lawyer should have a tripod in their office. Just in case you want to say something. And just record a video real quick of like how I really felt about like the trial and it millions of views, right? And I think that's where things are gonna go. I hate the AI videos. There are some lawyers that I follow who I can tell they've gone to AI and it's like, dude, your fingers look like alien. Like I know it's AI. And it doesn't have like it has the content, but it doesn't have a soul, if that makes sense. Because I think there are ways in which we as human beings communicate that are not robotic, that can't necessarily be replicated by AI, like kind of the little quirks that just make you imperfect. That's one of the things I actually just in my talk today is like people don't really like perfect people. And I don't think people necessarily want to see perfect content. So my goal is to go I have to get comfortable in being less produced, but I am deeply insecure. And so I'm like, I need a makeup artist. I need my hairstylist on set. You know what I mean? I need the good lighting so the melanin's popping. Like, you know what I mean? Because it's like I think people think like, oh, you do this all the time, and so you're confident about it. I am deeply insecure about it, but I got to make a living. You know what I mean? So I am trying to get comfortable doing the less produced content because my gut tells me that that is the direction that the algorithm is going to start preferring to kind of weed out the AI. That's just my gut though, and so I'm trying to follow it to figure it out, and we're gonna mix up our content just to kind of see in the next few months like what performs, how each piece performs. But recently we have learned, like we've been tracking it. The stuff I shoot on my iPhone performs, sorry guys, just as well as the stuff that I hire a videographer and a team and shoot, right?
You're all fired.
I mean, I got my little DJI mics too.
Uh,
So I don't know the answers to that question, but those are the things that I'm watching and how I'm kind of reacting to.
The market has shifted rapidly, right? What started out as people trying to leverage all this technology to do all these things at scale, right, got so overdone that now people like yourself are having to pull back and be even more real just to prove that you're not doing
AI.
that stuff at scale.
That's right.
yeah, I think the things that really resonate is a couple things. It's posting specifics of the platform and certain things. Instagram's a little more polished than the TikTok would be versus YouTube. We have a lot more success on YouTube, but like our format is designed for like longer form. That's why we're more successful. That's what our audience is used to. Authenticity is incredibly important in this new world. Like you said, like the reason those videos do so well because they're 100% authentic, and that really translates. I think the one thing that's really the differentiator in this new world where there's a ton of AI tools is something they can't replace yet. Is what I call taste. There's a lot of people that just like try to like let the apps automatically cut up their clips or put up whatever or make the content recommendations or strategy. It can help influence you and speed along the process, but it doesn't have good taste to what your audience wants. That is still like required by you. Your content's successful because you have the taste for what you want your content to look like and to be like.
It will miss some of the nuggets and like the zingers. And it's like, no, I know. And you're like fighting with it. Like, no, go back and re-edit it and include this part. And then it's like, I don't think I want to do that, Sarah. And you're like, you know what? I'll just do it myself. Pull up my InShot app. But yeah, and because there are like cultural concepts, right? That like maybe just unique to Alabama, right? That the AI is not going to capture. But I know I want my audience to catch because they're going to go, that's our girl from right here, you know? And so that's the struggle. I do think that there are so many tools that help make your content creation much more efficient. And so those are important to me to use. I don't like the idea, you know, I've had some people pitch me on like, oh, we can just replicate you. And I'm like, first of all,
No, you can't.
you can't. And even, you know, I'm like, dude, I change my hairstyle like every shoot looks different. And so people are gonna know if you, I don't know. I know and I don't like it. Like I want to feel like I have a connection to the person that I'm engaging with. I feel a lack of connection when it's AI. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's the direction it'll go. If so, I guess I'll have to pivot, but I hope not. I think it's weird for trial lawyers. Don't be offended if this is you. But I think if you are trying to educate people on what it's like to connect with human beings as a trial lawyer, and then for efficiency, you replace it with a computer, we're doing a disservice to the people, right? Because you aren't connecting for real. And it will probably never be me. Like I may just, I don't know, have to start doing TikTok dances to get engagement. Well, I would rather do that, and I cannot dance. My black card gets revoked all the time. All the time. Dude, my daughter can't dance. My husband just looks at her and he's like, this is you. This is your fault. But I would rather dance on TikTok than like not show up.
And that, my friends, is how you do social media correct. Sara, thank you so much. This has been absolutely amazing. I hope those of you watching can take away just a little bit of what Sara brings to her social media presence, to the persona that she has put online. She didn't build it for online. She took herself and she put it online, and that's the right way for you to pursue social media. Thank you so much for joining us on the podcast.
Thank y'all for having me. I'm Sara Williams, a partner at Singleton Schreiber, an avid legal marketer. If you are interested in legal marketing as well, you have to follow, like, and subscribe to the John and Marc podcast.